everybody. Welcome to the Let Me Ask You This podcast. I'm your host, Chris Del Pozo, and this is a podcast that debunks misconception about mental health therapy one episode at a time. This is a really great episode. We go over topics of motivation. We go over his expansion on social media, what impacts others. We even go into topics about dating and how to approach dating in today's society and the impact that society and social media has had on today's living. So if you find any of this interesting, please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. And we'll see you after the show. Beloved.
Yes.
Dude, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for inviting me. I feel honored to be here. Let me just say, man, the setup is immaculate. We got the chess piece, and you mind if I? Man, look at this. Come on, man. R.I.P.
Oh man,
the GOAT.
Yeah, for real. Dude, so crazy. And Dragon Ball has been around for so long. Most people don't realize it started back in the 80s.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, Dragon Ball, I want to say, came out in like 1988 or 1989 when the original Dragon Ball came out.
This.
So yeah, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z. It's been around for a long time.
Them Saturday mornings, man. I mean, I had before, like, for our household, we had to get up at like 6 a.m., which is absurd for your Saturday. You had a whole week of school. We had to wake up at like 6 a.m. to clean, and then hopefully get it done enough, like early enough to get to that in front of that television and watch Dragon Ball. So yeah, that's definitely part of my life.
So it was that, and then I don't know if you remember the channel WB44.
WB44. What you talking about with those little characters that run up this little?
Yeah, that's I used to.
WB44. What else was on that show?
You had all sorts of cartoon shows like Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh,
Digimon.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
You had all that, all those different characters. A lot of that was on that channel.
Top three. Let me ask you, what's your top three?
Top three.
Top three Saturday morning car. Like I'm about to watch this today. This is my top three.
It would have to be Pokemon.
All right.
Dragon Ball Z.
Come on.
And Animaniacs.
That was man, a big one. They creep me out.
That was a big one for me.
They creep me out. That's the ones that were like running up the.
Yeah, so it was like they were like little mouses.
Yeah. Yeah,
I used to watch a lot of those weird shows as well. There was another one, Freakazoid. That was another one.
What that is. But yeah,
whatever's on the TV, you're trying to watch it. But it's funny to understand though that like Dragon Ball Z versus an animation like Animaniacs, it's so different, right? Yeah. So different because like in Dragon Ball Z is what would be defined now as like anime.
Yeah.
Whereas it's not really considered a cartoon.
Yeah.
Because then, going down the rabbit hole of anime, there's
one of those shows are so different, like you said. But man, the Dragon Ball Z was the inspiration of some sort. It pulled out so many. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I tell people all the time, one of the things that they don't consider about animated shows is the storylines are about nearly better than most.
Ahead of its time.
Oh my gosh.
Ahead of its time.
The moral values, they were always encouraging you to do better, to try to fight to be better.
To dig deep.
Goku was the epitome of, there's somebody better than me, so now I need to work twice as hard so that I can be better than them. And his goal in life is to find somebody better than him.
To search for that challenge to elevate himself. Oh, yeah, 100%.
And this is, again, stemming from so long ago and in the kids' show.
Yeah.
That, I mean, it's... Even the shows now, the animated shows, some of them have some really good concepts to them. But I think a lot of it is recycled. Like, you see a lot of animated shows that follow same structure or similar structure to, like, Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. But they're... Man.
I guess the character developments for me, I literally want to grow up with that character, and a lot of it's gonna be repetitive. A lot of it's gonna be like Goku, Naruto.
Mm-hmm.
They're all in that bubble of, all right, it's me versus the world. It's me trying to be better than I was yesterday. But it's just how it can relate to me, and nowadays I don't know all the cartoons that go on nowadays. I am stuck with this timeline
The OGs.
of the OGs of anime and cartoons and stuff like that. But also, I don't really got a lot of time to watch so much. When I do, I try to dive into ones that I can stick with for a while.
Yeah, well, I will say if you ever get an opportunity, One Piece is a really good one.
Nope.
It's incredibly long.
Nope. We got 9,000 episodes that I'm not about to dive into. I started with Naruto, and it took me it took me like a year, but that was so much, some months out.
So there's with these older shows, they have a lot of filler episodes.
Yeah, I don't got time for that.
They have
I
a
don't got
lot.
time for that.
So it's funny because you can even find online where people will actually like map out what episodes to watch and what episodes to skip, so you could just follow the storyline for things like Naruto.
But sometimes I get stuck. Like sometimes they get me. Like, I'm like, maybe this is an episode, and then 40 minutes in, like, come on, man.
You know, some of them are so pointless, but some of them provide such small information that goes to the story that when you do have the time to actually sit down and watch it all, it's entertaining. But that's the thing. That's why it's a kid show, because kids are the ones that have time to be able to watch something that has over 1,000 episodes. If you're a working adult,
shouldn't. You shouldn't, man. Go outside. 1,000 episodes. That's ridiculous.
You know, that's a very good point. And so then the question becomes is it designed to keep people inside the house?
Yes. I need you as non-productive as possible. But I mean, some people like break out that wall of like, okay, I can build my imagination and then break through and go do some stuff. But some people are just, I was in that place, just stuck and what's next, and never be productive. So yeah, it can definitely work, but I think it's designed to keep you right there. You got to break through.
Well, trying to be dedicated by yourself is not really the easiest thing. To motivate yourself, unless you have somebody that's there to be able to either at least try to push you, or somebody to inspire you that you see pushing. It's very difficult to create that like self-motivation to really want to get up and do something.
It's pretty hard, man. It's really hard. It takes a whole different level of, I don't know. There are a lot of different aspects to pushing yourself. For example, you said you might need another factor in there. Like if we go to parent households, like I be watching films where they show people that without parents in their household and how they try to motivate themselves. And I'm like, man, the level of what has to go through your mind to do it consistently is, you need somebody to on those days where you're not moved to move. So to do it each and every day on your own is, I don't know. It's a different level. It's a different level mentally to be able to do that. So I applaud to anybody that's like in that level of like, all right, I don't have anybody, but I can motivate myself. I can look at myself in the mirror and say, okay, what else can I do to be better? Because I need my parents, I need my brothers, I need my community, my church, and all that stuff to be there in a sense.
Well, I think a lot of people don't really appreciate that environment anymore. It's so many people are encouraging to push like, I got to do what's good for me. I got to take care of me. Everything is about me. And sometimes if you kind of take a step back and look at your surroundings and what you're doing for your surroundings and how you're impacting your surroundings, you might find a different type of meaning in life that may help you, get there. But if everything is always about me, everything is going to be what satisfies me. Yeah. And unfortunately, that can be a dangerous rabbit hole, because sometimes what satisfies me is people, I don't want to go to an extreme, but just to kind of prove a point, people like Hitler, it's like, hey, what was best for me was to get rid of all these people, right? It's just understanding that it's a slippery slope that can be when everything is about me. Whereas if you're trying to do things for others, you're putting somebody else before yourself.
Okay. To piggyback off that, now it's a lot of. Sometimes I get to a place where I'm like, it has to be about me. It has to be about me, so I can help others.
Mm-hmm.
So
in a way that's good if you are doing it with the mindset of to help others. So your goal is you want to be the best you, so that you can help be the best you for somebody else, right? But it's different than when you want to be the best you so that you can benefit all the whatever benefits that would come from benefiting you.
Yeah.
But then you're now stuck in that same place of how am I going to motivate myself to want to better myself just for myself.
That's
Whereas if you have somebody that you need to be there for, sometimes that puts you in a position where you're like, I have to be this person, even if you may not want to be, but I have to be this person so that I can be this person for somebody else. And then taking on that role, you'd be surprised on how much you show yourself that you can do it. Because a lot of the time it's fear. People don't want to do things, they're scared to do it. They're scared to take
creating
that step.
Creating this image of something that's not there, was never there. You're just creating this false, not reality, false outcome.
Yeah.
So we're imaginative people. So some of us are really like in depth with our like what we think about, what we envision. So it becomes real. Like it takes form.
Tell me you've never had a conversation with somebody in your head before actually having a conversation in your head with them.
Oh, all the time.
So that you know to what to respond if they say something.
Well, all right. People I try to like girls I try to talk to where I'm like, all right, this is what she could say. This is what she might say. What she's most likely gonna say, and I play it out, and it never ends up like that because you end up saying everything that you didn't practice. Everything just flips up. So that get recreating this world that's not here is it's hilarious. Honestly, it's hilarious to think that you're gonna figure out every outcome and be ready for each outcome when it comes to play, whatever they say, however they say it or respond. So it's I'm not saying I'm out here talking to everybody, but I've done that plenty of times where I'm like, all right, this is what she's gonna do. This is how she's gonna do it. This is what I'm gonna do when she does that. But it never ends up being like that.
Well, man, that concept plays out all the time for most people, man. It's so many people think about what's going to happen before it happens to try to prepare themselves as much as they can. And more often or not, it typically doesn't play out the way they would think it does. It did. No. But when it does play out the way they did, they thought about it ahead of time because their response is instant.
Yes, yeah. I knew you was gonna say that.
So it becomes those prepared responses, and
I'm like Batman with like contingency plans. I always try to prepare for the worst in a sense, which is good, but life throws curveballs left and right. You're never too 100% ready. So.
But I would say it's a good thing. The more exposure that you are to different outcomes and circumstances, you become more prepared for it if it ever presents itself again. Yeah. The one way to overcome fear is small exposure over time. So you taking for an example.
Say that again. I don't think they heard. Say that again. That was a good one. Say that again.
Yeah. But in clinical psychology, the concept behind overcoming fear is small exposure over time, gradually getting more and more to whatever the fear is. So in the example of somebody being afraid of elevators, you put them 10 feet away from an elevator. If they can't handle it, or that's the closest that they can get to an elevator, you stay there for about 10-15 minutes. Eventually they'll realize that it's not so scary, so maybe you take another step or two steps.
Eventually they'll see.
And then you slowly, gradually make your way to the elevator. You slowly, eventually make your way to getting inside the elevator, and eventually you ride the elevator. Yeah. But the goal is to small exposure over time to overcome any of these fears, because you teach yourself that you're creating this fear.
Yeah.
You're teaching yourself that if you don't allow the fear to control you, you can control yourself. But it's understanding that there's nothing to be afraid of in the first place, realistically.
Nah, that was all you. That was all you.
So, but anytime you're like afraid to do something, like trying to create small exposure for yourself to that environment would be the best way to try to approach it. You know, I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, and one of the guests, he says, anytime I am put in a position that I don't want to do something, that's the first thing I do.
First thing he does, okay.
And I try so hard to follow that mindset.
That's not,
so difficult because,
it's different, yeah.
Of course, you don't want to do it.
But he's probably did it. Backing up what you said on a smaller scale,
right?
Like now he probably sees like something that he fears to do on a huge scale, but he probably had like small little things where, all right, I'm gonna attack this, I'm gonna attack that, and over time, like, all right, whatever it is that I fear, I'm going at it.
It comes and goes like everything else, and if you've already experienced it, you know what's gonna happen. You can be more prepared for it, and it's understanding that anytime you do something a second time, it's always going to be less fearful the second time.
Yeah.
You get into a fight for the first time, petrifying. Yeah. Second time, you know what to expect.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you go on a roller coaster, petrifying. Second time, you know what to expect. It's just over time you build the confidence.
Is there anything that might be, you go in the second time, it's still as scary as the first time?
I'm sure there is. I'm sure everybody's going to be different because everybody has different levels of fear and how they can handle it. And so I'm sure there is. I'm sure there are circumstances where, you know, people have to do things multiple times before they start really building up the knowledge of understanding why to not fear it. Yeah. Sometimes people still have a difficult time getting control of their emotions.
Yeah.
So if you still don't have control over other aspects of your life, then it's still maybe difficult to approach a fear aspect. But the concept even repeats over to like goals.
Yeah.
You take small goals. If you have a giant goal and you just attempt that giant goal, it's incredibly overwhelming. But if you take it and you break it down to a 5-year goal, 1-year goal, 6-month goal, 3-month goal.
You know what's crazy about that? As beautiful as that sounds, a lot of us be like, I don't have time for all that. I'm trying to attack it like all at once. Let's do this now. I don't got time to break down months and weeks. Let's do this now, and they'll never get you nowhere.
Well, but then that's where it becomes a question of, when will you be willing to acknowledge that maybe the approach is not the most effective approach? Because
that's insanity.
Right? So think doing the same thing more than once, expecting for different results.
Yeah.
Though if you're willing, kind of like chess, if you're willing to play the long game, you can plan out all the sections you need into how it would benefit you over a long period of time. And those small goals, when you achieve them, it's going to feel good, because normally when we have large goals, especially if you're a procrastinator, you'll do a bunch of other things instead of doing that
the actual
goal.
Thing, yeah.
But it feels good when you get things done.
Yes.
So if you take your big goal and you break it down into a small goal that's super achievable, when you complete it, not only does it feel good, but it also goes towards your big goal. Yeah. So it's not like you're not working towards it. You're just slowing it down.
And the crazy thing is, a lot of times we want to break down the goals. We want to, because we end up doing, like you said, a bunch of other stuff. So we like accomplishing tasks. We like doing tasks. We just don't want to like focus tasks. We don't like to set on one thing. And it might be even more rewarding to get those little goals done than the bigger goal. Of course, you want to get to the bigger goal, but like getting a bunch of like rewards along the way, it's definitely the goal. The
Well,
goal itself. No pun
that's
intended.
why working out is so powerful to anybody's mental health.
Oh yeah, man.
The impact of even though you don't necessarily see a instant gratification,
Yeah.
you feel
You
an
feel it,
instant
yeah.
gratification after your workout. You feel like you accomplished something if you actually worked out. If you go to the gym and you don't do anything, but you go to say you went to the gym,
Yeah.
that's a different story than someone who actually was like, okay, I'm gonna go. If you don't ever go to the gym, or if you don't ever exercise, and you go to just do a mile on the treadmill, you won.
Yeah.
You won that day because you went out and you did something that you didn't normally do before, and then you go, okay, I'm gonna do this 1 day a week.
Okay.
You do that 1 day a week. All right, next week I'm gonna try doing this 2 days a week. You do that 2 days a week.
Question for you. Now let's tie in working out with life, right? And for example, for me, I've always been like the skinnier person, right? And I got to a point where I'm like, oh, I'm about to work out. And then I would get there and I'd be consistent. I'd gain a significant weight. You can see the changes. And then it gets to the point where you have a bigger goal. Let's say I have a goal of 160 and I'm 135, right? And I finally get to 140, 145. Tying to life, you see the goal, you feel the goal, you see it. Why is it that you get to a point where you stop and then you like you have to restart, or you just not consistent. Like you say with breaking down the goals, you would think once you get those rewards, you're gonna still go. The inertia's there, everything's gonna keep going. But why do you stop, go back, and still go forward, even though you're accomplishing tasks?
You know, it's so funny that you say that because I've watched a lot of videos of people talking about the fact that you will eventually hit a wall. Why? I don't know. But my theory would be that when you get into a routine, something that you're doing consistently every day, it might be a form of comfortability. Because if we're continuing with the example of working out, and you're working out and you're constantly working out, one of the things that we know that when you constantly work out all the time, you kind of stop getting sore.
Yeah.
So when you stop getting sore and you go to work out,
you get sore, but it's not the same sore.
It's not the same sore,
Yeah.
right? But if you're working out 2 to 3 years, unless you are
doing that,
competing, right? You're like, most of the time, your body eventually gets accustomed to it. But when that does happen, and then you go and work out one day, and then you really feel sore, you're like, wow, I did work today.
Yeah.
Because you felt it in comparison to before. Now, I'm curious if over time, if people don't eventually get to the aspect of working out hard enough to feel it again, whether they just start reverting back, maybe?
I think that line that I'm speaking of is just a line of passion. What I mean by that is like, you see the change, you see the growth, you feel it. You're consistent. You're moving forward towards the bigger goal, but then you get to the point of like, then you get to a point of like, did you really want this goal? Did you really want to get bigger? Because,
so you almost you become happy with where you've already gotten so
exactly.
So then you're just like, do I really need to reach that part?
So that's what I've seen. Like, okay, I've gotten there, and I'm like, bam, okay, I like that, and my goal was that, and then I'm like, maybe I didn't really want that bigger goal. But then you find yourself in a twisted place because you're settling. You're settling, and then you're going back, and then you're like, oh man, I can't even get past this. So like, it's like you said, like that passion. Did you get over that hump of like settling and saying that I think I'm good here, and I think I like this, and that's where I feel like people in life get to a lot, where it's like, oh, I've reached a height. I can't like go past. I can go past it, but
you just don't have interest.
I reached the height. Yeah. It gets to like a. Yes, I think it's not everybody to like. Nah, I can get more.
Well, so I'll say this. I don't think everybody has that kind of drive.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody per se needs that kind of drive.
Yeah.
There could be, I personally have the perspective that if you have a goal, you should try to achieve that goal to the best of your ability. And realistically, there's no reason to not achieve the goal. You just have to learn how to break down the goal so that you can achieve it.
Yeah.
I've gone in with understanding the mindset that I don't ever look at something as I can't do it. I'm just like, all right, how can I figure out how I can do it? And sometimes doing that requires you to be able to play the long game. So to give you like a life example, I couldn't always work out because of the kids.
Yeah.
And it was very difficult for me to try to figure out time to go to the gym, go work out, spend time with my family. And working out is a very important aspect of my life, but obviously spending time with my family is also an important part of my life. So it was hard to try to figure out how to balance the two. So instead of picking one or the other, I was like, all right, what can I do so that I can have both? Well, I built my own gym at my house. And when I say build, I literally just have some small gym equipment in my garage.
He built his gym. He built the gym.
Right. But, I got gym equipment in my garage. I started waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning before anybody wakes up because at the end of the day, I had to create my own scenario so that I can have the things I want if I really want it.
Yeah.
So in my mind, there is no I can. It's how do I do it?
Yeah, I do.
And then whether or not do I want to go through that work to do it?
Yeah.
But it's very difficult. Not everybody has that drive. Not everybody wants that drive.
Yeah. Yeah, and even in like life, some people like get to a place where like they really just feel comfortable. They feel good. But I feel like you should always have that, not greed, but like that. How can I get past this? It could be dangerous. I don't know.
I think understanding your role in life could help pertain that, right?
Yeah.
So because everybody contributes in different ways, everybody can help in different ways. It's understanding what your skill is, and then really pursuing it. Because I'll tell you, even for my wife, I always push her to, if you like this hobby, if there's something you like to do, go for it. Go try to do it. Even if it's just a hobby, it's something to be able to do outside of life that you get to enjoy. But it's so important to try new things to find that. And that's the thing. So many people are like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to figure this. If you constantly put yourself in environments that makes you feel uncomfortable, you're always going to grow. Right? So if you don't know a hobby that you may like, well, why don't you go and try finding something new that might have some type of interest for you, and then just go one night. It's the uncomfortable aspect of going that most people just don't want to do.
That's the part, man. I'm a living testament to that, man. Just to go try it out. I've reached plenty of times of trying things, but then I get to a point like, man, why am I trying so many things? Because I haven't found it yet. You gotta keep trying until you find it. But it gets a little weird. You get a little wearyness and fatigue in that.
Yeah, of course.
But you still got. That's the point of like your existence, to find what it is that makes you, to give you that fire. So.
Well, so I've heard good and bad about this, but personally, I think it is very good to have some type of routine in your day-to-day life.
Yeah. Wake up early.
Well, I do think that people can be very effective waking up early, doing a lot of things early in the morning. But the problem is I'm an early person, so I can't really do things at night because I constantly get tired very easily, and I would just fall asleep. Whereas when I wake up, it also stinks. I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm up. Can't do anything about it. I can't go back to sleep. Like, once my brain is functioning, I'm up. So it worked out in my favor to do early in the morning. But even then, sometimes late at night, you know, I as I was telling you, I started a TikTok for just kind of like a advice.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I had brought up was the aspect of making time for your significant other when life gets ahead of you, because when you get into these routines, when you get into these you know, everyday setups, you it makes it very easy to get lost and forget to kind of sit down and talk to your family and, you know, spend time with one another, especially when you have kids. So taking 30 minutes either before your day or at the end of the day to spend with your significant other, just one-on-one conversation, 15 minutes each, just being able to you know, unload and just have a conversation, you create
Are those
more
hard?
intimate. It is very hard. It is very hard because life catches up.
Yeah, true. But I'm not saying in the fact of like just negative conversation or like deep, but just randomly aside, like let's do this. I don't want to use the word cringy, but in a sense, it's a feeling like in my house, like we just be like trying to stay away from conversations sometimes, like real conversations. Like is that tough on your part to like be like, all right, now let's have a real life talk. Let's step away from this robotic life thing and let's just be real and stuff.
So in my circumstance, it wasn't difficult because I'm comfortable with having the conversations. My wife, on the other hand, was more of a learning experience because she didn't necessarily feel so comfortable with talking about it. A lot of families grow up or raised in households very differently, and how they deal with problems is dealt with differently. So understanding how someone was raised, incredibly crucial when it comes to a relationship, because you understand how they are going to deal with you when it comes to these problems. So where I'm a type of person that I like to talk about things as something comes up, my wife was a type of person that would stay quiet and just ignore it because that's what their family did. Again, I don't blame her. I understand where she's coming from. It's then being able to talk it through. It also takes somebody who's willing to listen. That's a big factor. So I think communication is very important when it comes to when you're with somebody, because a lot of people are scared to say how they feel or say how they think because they don't want it to be turned around. They don't, you know, like they don't want to be vulnerable. A lot of people don't want to be vulnerable. So if you're willing to entertain the conversation and they're willing to listen to what you have to say, I think it becomes a lot easier. But the hardest part, I think, with family in this aspect is making sure you dedicate the time to it. Because it's very easy to be tired. It's very easy to be like, you know what, I've had a long day. I don't want to talk. I just want to go to bed. It's very easy to let it go. To try to stay consistent with it, to try to spend the time, it takes work. Like any relationship, it requires work.
And even as you're saying that, I'm thinking about like, growing up, like we definitely had like, this is not a thing that happens too many households, unfortunately, especially for people of color. But like that dinner table, I'm not being objective. What is it called? When you're no generalizing. I'm not generalizing, but that conversation at the table doesn't happen a lot. And I'm thinking about, we sit at our table. We had dinner. But what is being spoken at the dinner table? Like, we just doing the action of just sitting here and being, of course, that camaraderie, of course, being around each other, but taking it a step farther and actually having intimate conversations and vulnerable conversations. I don't think, just looking back, I don't think we really did that. We really did it more so of like just a fellowship of like, okay, we're around each other, we're family, we're here. But did we have those conversations of like feelings, emotions, and what's going on here mentally and stuff like that? So I think we as a people, and everybody should, once they get to that table, what's being spoken at the table? What's the level of openness that's here at the table?
Yeah, well, honestly, the whole, so it was a cultural concept to sit at the dinner table, and that is where you would talk with your family.
Supposed to. That's where you're supposed
to. That was something that's been instilled, or like since like the 40s, 50s. You know, it's been around for a really long time. That concept, and a lot of people take it for granted now. I absolutely agree with you. You definitely don't see it very much now, and
even when it's done, I think it's more so just you're just going with the
tradition,
the role. Like it's not the actual.
Well, most of them are probably on their phone.
Ugh.
If you look at now, most
That's what
people
I'm
are
seeing in
probably
my head.
on the
I'm
phone.
like, man, I don't even see your eyes. I just see your top of your noggin, and I see, no comment. Yeah.
So, and the worst part is, the most you could ever do, we can see it. You see the negative impact.
Yeah.
So I can't control the world. I can't tell people what to do. Yeah. Fair enough. In my house, we will sit down and we will eat together as a family, and we'll talk to each other. I think the only thing that you can never do is you cannot control what other people say or do. You can control what you say and what you do.
Yeah.
So if you can create the practice of how you, personally, it's very hard to argue to say that having a conversation at dinner with your family has a negative impact. So knowing that it's more of a negative impact to not have it than to have it.
Yeah.
You can create environments that allows you to do that. Now, what's also important is having somebody that's willing to work with you and has the same mindset, right? But yes, the impact of having that dynamic. Mind you, don't get me wrong. When we were younger, we didn't talk more per se about like how we felt. It was more of, at least in my circumstance, my family was always open to just talk about anything. So like anything came up,
that could be the start. That could do a snowball effect into many different things. But yeah, sometimes we didn't talk about emotions and get like deep, but we'll start off making fun of each other, and then like everybody will like open up, and then get to conversations like how school, or my parents would talk about work and stuff, and it just opens up. It just unravels like deeper conversations. So
and you have your brothers. Do you have any sisters?
Nope. Yeah, it's 4 boys.
Right.
There's a reason it's 4 boys, because she kept trying to get a girl.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, so don't get me wrong. I am also 4 boys, right? And my mother, I was the last resort to try to get a girl. And so I thankfully was not.
Yeah, we there.
But I have to kind of point out your names between you and your brothers are the greatest
legendary. I think
I just want to point it out.
Appreciate
we got Beloved, Well-Loved,
let's see if you got
Love Now, and Lovins.
All right,
I will never forget these names, and till the day I die, I tell people about it because I think they're the most amazing names ever.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just black households, or that's probably many different cultures that do that, where they have one type of name and they just going off with that.
So I had a coworker at Walmart.
Yeah.
That she was also Haitian.
All right.
And she told me that was a Haitian culture.
Oh no, we definitely do that.
Right.
We definitely do that.
But I never knew that because her name was Donice, but the niece part was in all of the sisters. So there was Donice, Lanice, and I believe there was another one. I don't remember all the names.
Oh man, that's crazy.
But
yeah,
the first time I've ever seen
makes it easier for them. Hey, you're mine. What's your name? Okay, you belong to me. Yeah, like my cousin had my cousin's house which is crazy because her name was Don, Deanna, Dickinson, Dina, and then I don't know how the husband ended up having a D, no JD, and they ended up having like D in his name, because not part of this, but like they all had like D in that name. My dad's name is William. His twin is Wilfred. His well, actually, I'm not gonna say this part. He doesn't want. It's a W, but he doesn't want me to ever say that name out there. But all W's. We're love brothers, beloved, beloved, lovins, love now. So it just I don't know why. I think it's more so like, all right, we want to be different, but we also want to know, like, instead of like the last name, the Cherries. Nah, this is the W's or the loves. So I think it was legendary. I applaud my parents. At first, we were like, "What did you do to us?" But I applaud them for that. So it definitely separates us.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you,
You guys
absolutely no, not even close. My parents really screwed up when it came to my name. My older brother, or one of my older brothers, but the one that's the closest to me, his name's Mario. the fact that they didn't call me Luigi is just beyond me.
Oh man, they messed up. They messed out on that one.
I'm telling you, we're 2 years apart from each other. We could have been we could have been the Mario Brothers, bro. All right, stop playing.
This generation would have definitely would have called you. Would easily be called Luigi. I'm scared for the generation that naming their children. I've heard some crazy names. So I know I'm gonna keep my name going. So like, I don't care what she says. I don't know if she has. Wherever my future wife is, wherever you are, let me let you know right now. The first child's name Beloved. Okay, it could be a girl's name or a guy's name. So it works. Beloved. You can name everything else. It's Beloved. Just letting you know. Go ahead. No, I just gotta let them know.
No, fantastic, man. No, absolutely, dude. Thank you so much for doing this. This has been amazing. So I do want to ask you though. Let's go ahead, and you have done a lot of different social media stuff. You've done a lot of you've been online for many years now. What have you found to be the greatest success that keeps you pushing to do like social media stuff?
All right. Great question. Let me start off by saying I'm even in a pickle where not in a pickle, but in a place of like mental blockage and a little bit of drain, like you feel drained. So I'll start off with that just to say that yes, I've been trying to break this wall of like, you know, being a content creator, being that I've been doing that for a while. I just always, let's start off with, I always love that red button. You press that record and I can do, you telling me I can be at home and I can do whatever I want and I just put it out there and then kind of, and my creativity can create something, can build something. So like, just that aspect. It was never the thought of like building a business, a brand. It was just like press that button. I can be myself, do whatever I want, and then my creativity, my ideas can make something happen. Can spark emotions. Can have reaction. That factor itself really is what like, oh man, I can having people say, oh man, that really made my day type of deal is better than money. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love money, but it's a great feeling because like man, you really shifting different settings. Like literally that person going through this and then boom. I know I'm going off on a tangent. Now back to like doing this for so long. Actually, I went off on such a tangent that I didn't hear the actual question.
No, you're okay, man. So what I wanted to ask was
I do that a lot.
You have, you know, like you've got 7,000 followers on TikTok. You've got thousands of views between Facebook, Instagram. Are you also on YouTube?
That was my problem. Everybody kept saying the same thing, like, start your YouTube, because
okay, so you're not on YouTube yet, but it's gonna come. So
yeah.
Where my question just comes is well, I'll tell you what, I find it incredibly fascinating that you have more of a mindset of, I enjoy the idea of being in front of a camera, and you're not concerned about how people take you in a negative way. You're more concerned about, how can I make somebody happy?
Make somebody happy. How can I just create something that's mine? Like, this is like, it's my baby. Like, I literally, like, I can make this, and whatever happens. So one of my main thing is like, man, how can this affect somebody else? But back to that little psychosis thing. Not psychosis, but you know how you said it's about empathy. I don't really. Okay, I don't want to sound crazy. I don't want to care too much when I'm doing it, but I love that, like, I guess that my ideas aren't, in a sense, like belittling or, you know, hurtful. I'm just naturally trying to make happy content, good content. So I don't really do it for people, like, reaction per se, but the fact that it actually does, it definitely sparks that fire. It really definitely ignites more. So, but on the other side of that, it becomes, I think, for me, when you're searching for that reaction, it started off, I don't care, which made me do more. But once you get to that part of like, man, I'm looking for this certain specific reaction, or then for me personally, I just like, I don't think I even want to do this no more, because it's like I'm trying to
That's so funny. So would you say that the moment you feel like you're forced to do it, you just don't want to
nailed
do
it
it
right
anymore?
on the head. No, when it becomes like
A job.
a job, it's supposed to be well, it should be not a job. It's supposed to not feel like work at all. When it becomes like a responsibility or some sort for me, I'm like nah. Now it's like, yeah, now that drains everything out of you. But the thing is, especially now where we at, it becomes a job. So now I have to retrain my mind to think it is a job.
Mm-hmm.
It is a job. It's work. It's work.
So that was one thing that I had to do for myself, because even so, Shan,
Yeah.
he was the one that pushed me to do the TikTok.
Yeah.
And he was pushing me to do 2 videos a day. Right now I'm down to 1 video a day, but
Yeah.
I'm still trying to push that 1 video a day.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely, I would say it would probably stick harder for you if you start looking at it as a job. And even though it stinks, when you start looking at it as a responsibility, you tend to stay more consistent with it. And then when you're more consistent with it, you're going to build up over time. I mean, you already have a platform.
It's a hump, bro. I can see the hill. It's right there. It's just the consistency of what you're saying, like just making a responsibility, making it like you have to do it. And then once you get past that, I have to do it. Hopefully rolling the dice, it lands back into your control. Like you have the control of just doing it because you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have to make it a job so you can just get over this hill. And once you get to that part, it will hopefully get to that place of like, all right, I know it's a job, and now I just do it because I want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything just unravels as far as like what you make from it, everything on the other side of it. So just get over that hump of like, all right, I didn't want it to be a responsibility, but let's turn it into a responsibility that I want. And then hopefully you find that passion for it again the way it was.
Absolutely. And then you can use this to start for more content.
What?
Because you can use anything that we create with this podcast, any clips that I can create,
bro.
You got content.
That's exactly, subconsciously I be doing that. I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes like I be getting, once the camera starts rolling, I don't know. It's like a switch. I didn't switch completely, but like a character comes out where I'm like, man, I can use this to create to make something else or push something else. So I appreciate that I can use this to maybe catapult back into whatever I was doing or get the ball rolling, things of that nature. So
the more you post, the more you're gonna get views, and then you just need that one viral clip. I mean, you've got quite a few.
I think it's a niche that I need to find, like the actual avenue that's like, oh, it's not even an avenue. It's just a way to express who I am. I feel like maybe my personality, my family, just those aspects can create something that's big. But I just gotta find a way to lay it, just lay out the canvas and show them like who I am, without forcing like virality, like for viral videos and being part of a trend. And because usually when I try to do the trend stuff, I try to put a hint of, oh, this guy's a little different. He's I want to know who he actually is. Unfortunately, the things that have gone viral or blown up have been more so because it's a trend. It's a trend. But I think the hints of that I put on these videos are helping it. And now, if I can just continue to do it just a little bit longer, or really, really do it like a responsibility and a job, just for a little bit, I think I can get over that hump.
For sure. And listen, sir, we'll keep talking. We'll come up with some game plans, but we're gonna get you over that hump, man. But
you heard that.
I want to say again, man, thank you so much for doing this. This was great content. This is great conversation. And just exploring different opportunities. We didn't really go into much about therapy and psychology, but understanding and incorporating. Go ahead.
Question for you. Transitioning from high school. All right. What was that been? Damn, 2013.
Yeah.
Let's not
a
say
little over 10 years ago.
Let's not say that out loud. But just it's a little while ago. From high school to now. How how does it feel? Like we're getting to that next part of age chapter, right? How does it feel from there? And just let's say your 20ish areas, just and the transition of creating life and just the whole aspect of like, hey,
Me?
it's just like I'm an adult. That part. Like, how does that feel? How did you transition? Is it weird? Is it the times weird? Is it? Do you see
So
the shift being like your parents, or is it like how did you see it?
well, so I just turned 30.
Yeah, I'm
The,
almost there. I'm
the
almost there.
the dirty 30.
The dirty 30.
I you know, I'll be honest. My to say my mindset hasn't changed in 10 years, most definitely, right?
Yeah.
The way I thought then is much different than I think now. But to speak to the transition,
Is it fast?
it's understanding that your view to the world is going to dictate how you handle it. Because, for an example, the kids aspect,
Yeah.
I always wanted kids.
Oh, okay.
I always wanted kids.
I
I
thought
wanted.
I did. I thought that I'm like this world's scaring me, bro.
Dude.
This world is scaring me.
And,
These
and
women are the whole social, uh, not media, social world and how people. I don't know. It's just,
well,
that's why I had to ask. Like, man.
dating's very difficult right now. I don't argue that, and that there's so much more to into that. But just the aspect of kids, I honestly couldn't push enough to encourage the idea of having kids in the right circumstances.
Yeah, I've heard that.
But
it's a whole nother world.
it's understanding that I have a biased view of the fact that I always want kids.
Okay.
So I look at the benefit of kids and what they bring to my life that nothing else can bring. Now, I would arguably say that most people would benefit from kids if they're married with somebody that they can see a future with. Unfortunately, a lot of people do date for temporary circumstances because they just don't want to be alone and things happen. And I think that's where it makes it very difficult because sometimes people want kids that way. Some people don't want kids that way.
Yeah. You said something fascinating earlier. I caught it where you said that like she may have like it's like you're interested in learning more about her as far as like
when growing up, like how they were raised and
how they were raised. Like you said, like there's some aspects that of a conversation you open to talk about stuff, and sometimes she's back, and the fact that you're willing. That's the thing about dating. Like I feel like people are just not willing to like. Oh, I want to learn more about her, not just like I just want to like. If I want to do this forever, I want to like know the depths of everything. Why are you like this? Why are you like that? And how we like yin and yang. How do we bounce off each other? What can I learn from you and things of that nature.
So honestly, if I could encourage anything, it's the idea that if you're gonna be dating, you need to be more comfortable with being upfront about your expectations and what you're looking out of the relationship. And then if they say the words that you want to hear, then you pay attention to the actions to see if the actions follow the words. Right? But
yeah,
it's very hard because not many people want to be upfront about what they're looking for because they're afraid that it's going to deter people away. That's the idea.
That's the point. That's the point of the whole thing. Like we try to figure out who does not belong,
right?
Who cannot go on this journey.
So and your pool gets smaller and smaller as you get older. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you just need to reevaluate what you're looking for in life, and if you're looking for somebody, what you're looking for in that person, and then try to figure out where they would be. Yeah. And then you put yourself in those environments to meet them maybe naturally.
Yeah.
So if going back to the gym, if the gym is a big part of your life and you start exercising, you can meet somebody at the gym. Now, I don't ever encourage to walk up to a girl at the gym because
Chris told me to meet you here. Chris told me to meet you right here.
A lot of times they don't want to be walked up on, but understanding that if you are doing your own thing at the gym, and you just happen to, people talk at the gym all the time, you can befriend somebody at the gym very easily. What you do is you find somebody in the same type of environment that you are in, and you have something in common already. Right? Especially something like somebody working out, that's a life decision. That is a person that has decided to dedicate their time to exercising. That may be a attribute that you're looking for. Right? So it's it doesn't even have to be something like that. Let's say you like playing chess, so you start going to public places that does chess. You might find a woman there that plays chess. Obviously, anything can be changed based off of the person. It's also understanding your environment, right? Because
I'm not going there.
If you go to, for an example, the bar to meet people, what kind of person are you meeting?
You know what you're gonna get.
You're
not exactly, but you know what you're rolling dice with.
Right. So it's just understanding the environment. Online, you can be introduced to people, but it's not good to maintain a relationship online.
Yeah, you got that.
The thing is, being that it's 2024, most people who are not with somebody are probably online. And there's a good chance that majority of people in the world don't feel necessarily very comfortable having conversations with people in person just yet.
What? That's weird. Like,
we've created it.
We created it. It's a monster. Like, my voice cracked. Sorry. That's a monster. Like, we created a world where, like, I've even seen these kind of videos podcasts can go far because I just go off tangents. But I've seen videos where literally, like, people would like go talk to somebody, and they'll exchange real quick, but it stops there and it goes back to the media, which is normal. Like, how you doing? Give me your number. Boom. But to me, it's a little weird because the exchanges that I've seen where it's like, isn't it supposed to be like you go approach somebody and then you try to, in a sense, have a conversation there in a bit? Or is it like just introduce, go your separate ways, figure it out on the phone?
Well, I mean,
because it'd be like 10-second interactions. All right, back to the phone. Now we go back to the phone. But it's not really, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're actually going into a conversation. Who are you? How you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And then next date, whatever the case may be, next thing you set up. But just the fact that it's like, all right, let's do this real quick and go back to the device. Maybe I'm crazy. It's just kind of off to me.
I can tell you that the phones have impaired us in a way that, they're creating diagnosis that's a form of anxiety for people being away from their phones. It's a type of addiction that I think was not really anticipated. And so, again, it comes down to, so what do you do about it? You can't do much other than what you can control. Yeah. So if you can control what you do, then you can, and especially if you have a household, then, you can help encourage the mindset in the household and you go from there. But at the end of the day, that's the only thing that you can control. I try not to focus too much on things that I have no control over because it doesn't make a difference. Yeah. As much as I would love to change something, it's like, if I can't change it, copy. What do I need to do so I can work around it?
I need that part of my mentality sometimes. Like, sometimes I'm like, man, ask the question, what can I do? What can I actually, like, how can I?
I live by the words of the Serenity Prayer. God grant me the serenity to change the things that I can change, or know the things that I can't change, and then the wisdom to know the difference.
I like that.
But I feel like I'm saying that wrong.
I got the idea of what you're trying to say.
It's along those lines, but basically, it's just understanding. Focus on the things that I have control over. Yeah. Stop focusing on the things that I can't control, and then just know the difference between the two of those. Because if I focus on everything I can control,
we're gonna put that right there. We're gonna put that, the title of what that is. Serenity what?
It's a serenity prayer.
The serenity prayer. I like it. Yeah. I stick to the quote of it's called Our Deepest Fear. I first heard it on Coach Carter, but then I went to go find the poem itself. You probably heard it. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, fabulous, talented, gorgeous? Actually, who are you not to be? Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not in just some of us, but in all of us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others. That was on point. You saw that?
Yeah.
Our deepest
Hell
fear.
Yeah. And
our deepest fear.
God, we're gonna go ahead and end it on that. That
Yes,
was great.
yes,
Dude, thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
of course.
Bro.
All right.
Checkmate. I just wanted that the whole time.